aspect of our course, because this is the aspect of the course that you as business persons or as accountants will actually be using. Forms of contracts, studying contracts, determining if it's legal or not legal. To the extent that you're not lawyers, you will be studying those things for your companies or for your businesses. So I would like you to be well-grounded in the first two parts of our semester so that you better understand this. So ganito kasi, ilan na ba tayo? 45 pa, wala pala, kalahati pa lang tayo. Pakipaliwanag na lang doon sa mga late. Ganito, okay, I'll show you first my lecture notes. Oops, I have to bring it up. So, ganito sistema natin dahil sa Google, ano? I will be giving the link just in time for class para hindi masayang yung ilang minuto na naghihintayan tayo. You have to be online with me at the appointed time. So when I give you the link, you see it in the messenger, mag-link na kayo kaagad para hindi sayang oras natin, ha? I was with Dean Tano the other day. I had some papers to take care of just sa Binangonan. And he was telling me that next year, face-to-face na raw, most likely. So, but I still have to study ito online because we never know kung may bagyo or whatever. We may have to resort to it. So, as a backup, we still have to know about how to get about holding classes with only 1 hour free. Right? So, please tell the others to log in already so that we're not disturbed. Ganito ang ginawa natin. Hindi ako nagpa-midterms kasi yung mga exercises nyo na ginawa nyo para sa ating klase, binilang ko na yan sa midterms nyo. The advantage of that is you get better grades kasi talaga your presentations have been fabulous. Really, really good. I've been very generous. I'll show you the grades. Once I'm having difficulty entering the grades because nung unang panahon when I was a graduate of UP and UP asked me to teach, nasa notebook lang yan, napakadali. Transcribe ko lang manually. Ngayon, I have to learn Excel. So I at the same time that I'm learning how to use PowerPoint, I'm also trying to learn how to use Excel. I didn't worry about it before because my secretaries used to do it. But now that I'm working at home, I have no secretaries. Nobody does this for me. And I'm certainly cannot ask my secretary to do things that have nothing to do with the law office. It's just a sideline. Okay, so please give me time. But definitely, these activities helped you in your exams, in your boosting your grades from the preliminary exams. However, ang takot ko lang mga kaibigan, you may not have technical proficiency. You may not be too familiar with the provisions of the law on obligations and contracts that are not tackled in your exercises. So yun ang problema dyan. I want you to be proficient in the civil code, if only because of the board exams, because we have to maintain the reputation of the school. Diba? Second, we don't want to disappoint your parents. Kahit na libre kayo, estudyante kayo dito sa URS, hindi naman libre lahat. Siyempre, may kumakain kayo sa bahay ng mga magulang nyo. So, kailangan meron silang return on investment, di ba? Unless you're working. And if you're working, you have an even greater interest in passing the board exams because you're spending your time. It's hard to work and to study. I never had to do it because I quit teaching before I entered law school. I deferred my admission into the College of Law in order to teach. but the deferment was only for 1 year. So after 1 year, I had to go to Diliman and take up my position in the law class. So it's really important for you to know the law and obligations and contracts, if only for the board exams, if only to be able to get your diploma as students of URS, and more importantly, mga kaibigan, yung magagamit ito sa inyong trabaho later on. Whether or not you continue as accountants, like I told you, kahit sabihin yung housewife lang kayo or house husband lang kayo, kasi yung asawa nyo yung nasa abroad at malaki naman ang kita, so sa bahay lang kayo, you will need Oblicon and you will remember me when you buy your first house, when you buy your first car, when you have children, when you're going to annul your marriage to your husband or wife, you will remember me. Because dahil lalabas ang obligations and contracts nyo. Ngunit huwag naman sana kayo mag-annul, ha? That's not good. Okay. Henceforth, I will require you to take handwritten notes. Okay? So you have to get yourself bond paper or notebook. It has to be handwritten, hindi pwedeng computerized. Yung computerized, madaling gumawa ng notes dyan, cut and paste lang, di ba? You can give me computerized notes that are as thick as the Encyclopedia. I have Encyclopedia Britannica here. 100 volumes. Pwede niyong punuin yan pag computerized notes. No, ladies and gentlemen. Handwritten notes. Ganito style. I gave you a video lecture. We'll start with that. Novation. I want you to put the provision of law. Write it by hand on a piece of paper. Then, whatever items you think are worth taking note of, whether from my lecture or from the textbook, you write it there. And then you go to the next provision. Or if 2 or 3 provisions are related, you put them together and put all of your notes underneath. Okay? Handwritten. I don't care what you put there. I don't care if you copy De Leon verbatim. I don't care if you make it up and you're actually writing love letters to your boyfriend or girlfriend. What I will require from you, nag-lecture ako ngayon. I'll give you the next day, usually Sunday, di ba? To come up with the handwritten notes. I-screenshot nyo. Ngayon, kung masipag kayo at yung inyong handwritten notes just for one lecture of mine is 10 pages long, good luck to you. You send me 10 screenshots. Diba? I doubt it. I tell you, sa law school kasi, you cannot survive law school without a study group. You have to have friends in law school. Patay ka kung wala. Because the coverage is too wide. The cases are too many. The professors are too demanding. Imposible you will study 10 to 20 cases every day for each subject, and you have 3 subjects a day. And you have to have a social life. You have to have a love life. You have to eat. You have to commute. You have to talk to your parents. So there's no way to survive without a study group. So sa study group namin, you always include a woman. Kasi mga babae, masipag yan. Mag-notes. Ano? So kukopyahin lang namin yung notes nila. Now you can do that. I really don't care what you put in your notebook. You can fill it with drawings. You know why? Kasi sinarili nyo lang linoloko nyo kung ginagawa nyo yun, di ba? Kung kabalastugan lang isusulat nyo, you'll spend your Sunday afternoon writing stupid things so that you can comply with my requirement of a screenshot of your handwritten notes. Bahala kayo. What is my objective, ladies and gentlemen? My objective is, and I know this for a fact, when you handwrite something, you will remember it better than if you just underscore in a computer document. So this is the coverage of today. I don't know if I can cover it in less than 1 hour, but here is part C, the third part of my lecture. Oh, wait, did I share this? Part C is your has to do with your special activity, and this activity involves handwritten notes. And the reason why I want you to do that is by writing down your thoughts on the subject matter. I hope that you're able to gain technical proficiency, which is my objective in teaching this course. This course is really difficult. Alam niyo itong obligations and contracts, dapat lang talaga tinuturo ito sa mga gustong mag-abogado kasi napaka-komplikado dito. I'm giving you the simple version. The lawyer's version is more complicated. It involves a lot more readings from common law and things like that. It's a hassle. It's a pain in the ass to study. You do not study this unless talagang balak niyo mag-abogado. Now, balak niyo mag-accountant. You have to know these things. So you have to have a certain level of technical proficiency, less than that of a lawyer, but sufficient to satisfy your company's needs for knowing business law, okay? Or the regulatory environment for business. So handwritten notes on paper, you submit the screenshots the next day. I'll give you the time. I will look at the screenshots. I will not read them one by one. That's too much to ask of me. Instead, I will see to it that you actually submit one. When you submit one, you get a score. And all of the scores will add up to a pass-fail system. Makita niyo nakasulat yan? Ito. Nawala yung letter M sa system. And this will form part of your final exams. In other words, when you comply, ang inisip ko siguro kung nag-comply kayo, bibigyan ko yung mas madaling exam. Halimbawa, kalahati lang ng exam take nyo. Ang inisip ko, kayo pang pipili kung anong questions gusto nyo sagutin. Siyempre, yung questions lang alam yung sagot, di ba? Or else, hindi ko pa naisip kung anong special activities pwede yung gawin for the rest of the semester. Pwede rin gawin natin yung wala na kayo final exams. I will just add up all of the special activities. But I will design the special activities hindi tulad na nung dati. For enjoyment purposes, nagbasa lang kayo ng comics. Ito mas mahirap ng konti. Because now my objective, ladies and gentlemen, is to ensure that you have technical proficiency. Why am I? Marinol School should get back my Best Speller Award. Okay. Contract law. The very essence of what we are studying here in this business law courses. Remember Article 11, 57, ladies and gentlemen? What are the sources of obligations? Do you remember that one of them is contracts? And do you remember that I told you that contracts are so important that even the Constitution protects the right of parties to contracts? In the sense that the government cannot just change a contract which is existing. Diba? That's how important contract law is to business. And that is why you are studying it, even if you are going to be accountants and not lawyers. And when you remember what I said about 1157, ladies and gentlemen? It has 5 items, but actually there's only one. All obligations arise from law. There is no obligation which is not allowed or sanctioned by law. What is the difference between a contract as a source of obligations as opposed to, let's say, law, quasi-contracts, acts or omissions? Contracts are private undertakings. Contracts are private undertakings, unlike obligations arising from other sources of law or the law itself. These are stated in a statute. A statute is a law passed by Congress. Or during Marcos's time, during martial law, he was the sole lawmaker, so he also wrote certain laws which are still being observed today. For example, the property registration decree written by President Marcos is still law of the land, despite the fact that we have ousted him. Because nobody bothered to change the law. The law, the property registration decree, is really a good law. It's a well-written law. It was written by the UP College of Law. Okay. So if you look down our notes for today, you will see the various articles that we are supposed to be studying. And you will see the features of a contract. A contract is different from the other sources of obligations, not only because it is between private individuals, two parties at least, it is mutually enforceable. Each of the parties can enforce the contract. What does enforceability mean? They can go to a court or they can go to another agency and enforce it. Diba? Halimbawa, yung pagbili nyo sa Lazada, nangyari ito sa akin kahapon. Nakahanap ako sa Facebook sa supply ng dashcam. Kailangan ko ng bagong dashcam. Yung dashcams na mura, madaling masira. So, I need 2 dashcams for my vehicles. So, I bought one. Testing lang muna kasi mura. It look good. Sa kanilang picture, gano'n, it look good sa Facebook. Ang dumating sa akin, hindi dashcam, dumating sa akin mga bote. So sinabi ko, ano kayo ng loloko? So they better not be scammers because if they're scammers, papa-NBI ko to. Hindi ko binabalita, but the Secretary of Justice is my classmate. I'll just write him a note. He'll have the NBI on it. It's enforceable. In other words, I can sue these guys, which I will do if they do not give me my dashcam. What is that? What is that contract? That is a contract of sale. I paid. They delivered. They did not deliver the right thing. It's a breach of contract. I can sue them, but I will not sue them civilly. I will sue them for fraud, estafa. Bahala na si fiscal. Bahala na si PNP maghuli sa kanila. Demandability. Even without going to the courts, each party to a contract can demand from the other satisfaction, di ba? Compliance. Kahit hindi kayo magkortihan. Meron kang online sale, Miss Fuentes. Nagbebenta ka ng mga damit sa online. Tapos si Miss Fadriquela bumili sa iyo. You agreed to sell her certain clothes and she agreed to buy it at a certain price. That is a contract. There's a meeting of the minds. Ngayon, even kahit hindi pa dumarating yung date, kasi si Miss Fuente, sinabi ka, alam mo, Miss Fadriquela, yung order mo, kukunin ko pa yan sa warehouse namin sa Cainta. Parang yun ang papromise sa akin mag-deliver ng dashcam. Kukunin daw nila yung replacement na dashcam sa akin. Tingnan natin kung totoo. Wait, kahit wala pa yung panahon na sinabi ni Miss Fuentes na i-deliver niya, you can already ask, Miss Fadriquela can already ask Miss Fuentes, okay lang ba? Gusto ko nang kunin eh. Di ba? It is mutually, the obligations of each party are mutually demandable. There is reciprocity. A contract involves two parties who are expecting something from the other. It is a reciprocal contract. It is not impossible, but very seldom that a contract is one way or unilateral. Remember these terms. A contract allows the obligations to be determinable and reliable. In other words, lalo na if the contract is written. Not all contracts are written. Sasabihin ko na sa inyo. I'm already foreshadowing the rest of the semester because we will study the forms of contracts. Not all contracts need to be written. But the mere fact that you know, as a party, Ms. Fadriquela, and you know your obligations, Ms. Fuentes, as a party to that contract to buy and sell clothes, that means it's already determinable. Hindi pwede sabihin ni Ms. Fadriquela what she was buying was dried fish or what she was buying was computer games for her brother. Di ba? Hindi pwede. Kasi si Ms. Fuentes nandyan. Sabi niya, anong dried fish? Anong computer games? I'm selling clothes. That is the reason for our contract. So it is determinable. Pag ako, third party, sabi ko, may contract si A at si B. Paano ko malalaman kung ano yung contract nila? Tanungin ko si A, tanungin ko si B. Kung magtugma, yun yung kanilang contract. Di ba? So a contract is determinable. It is reliable. In other words, kung ako halimbawa, I'm depending on the contract of sale between Ms. Fuentes and Ms. Fadriquela because I'm also interested in buying from Ms. Fadriquela and I will resell it. Reseller ako. Si Ms. Fadriquela kasi marami siyang kilala. Si Ms. Fuentes na isa na magandang source ng mga damit. Ako, retailer ako, sa bahay lang ako. I sell. Kung maka 500 ako isang buwan, masaya na ako. Si Ms. Fadriquela, si Ms. Fuentes, libo-libo yan. I'm interested in this contract. So if I know that there is a contract between Ms. Fadriquela and Ms. Fuentes, kumpiyansa ako makipag-quarrel dito sa mga kapitbahay. Oy, bumili kayong damit. Maganda ito. Ang galing ng aking dealer. I'm sure you'll be happy. Di ba? I, as a third party, relying on the contract between Ms. Fuentes and Ms. Fadriquela, I can now contract with others because I am sure that the contract between the two parties, Fuentes Fadriquela, is reliable. And I can, on my own, rely on that contract, and so I can now offer my goods to others. Yun ang inam ng kontrata. No? So please take a look at that. I hope you're starting to take notes. Please don't make it computerized. Have the practice of writing it down because I assure you, if you write it down, no matter how ugly your handwriting is, you will remember it. You'll not remember it just for this semester. You'll remember it for the board exams. You'll remember it when you are practicing already. Okay. I'm running against time here. 3 o'clock. I can seem to bring it out. Mm-hmm. Okay. There seems to be something wrong. Teka nga lang I seem to have a little technical problem here. Anyway, so please take a look at Article 1306. This is the entire substance of contract making. The contracting parties may establish such stipulations, clauses, terms, conditions as they may deem convenient, provided they're not contrary to, and this is the phrase you should always remember. They are not contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policy. We studied this already sa obligations rin, di ba? Obligations are valid as long as they're not contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, and public policy. So you should always remember that. Pag kayo ay nagpa-practice na at kayo binigyan ng kumpanya nyo ng isang contract na sa tingin nyo ay labag sa batas, labag sa moralidad, labag sa ating mga kostumbre or good customs, labag sa kabutihan ng lipunan or sa mga policies ng gobyerno, magduda na kayo. You better start giving it to your legal counsel so that the contract will be better evaluated. But the mere fact that you know is already a warning to your company, and you're already proving that you are an asset by knowing that. Okay? So please highlight 1306. Now, 1307, we'll get to that later. 1307 exists because of the freedom of the parties to contract and to lay such stipulations, clauses, terms, conditions as they deem fit. There are so many contracts now that do not fit what the legislators thought of when they made the law. Ano? I'll give you an example. I have a nephew. He's really a brilliant guy. He's still in college just like you. But even if he's in college, nakwento ko na to yata eh. He developed a bot, BOT, which is used in Discord. And it's being used by thousands of people. So Discord wrote him and said that you have to get a lawyer to write a contract on privacy policy. You have to have a privacy policy when you have a popular app being circulated in the internet. And so I had to study it, ladies and gentlemen. I had to study similar contracts in the United States, and it's really mind-boggling. I'm not really a contract lawyer, but this is one of those things that are called innominate. Innominate, ibig sabihin wala pang pangalan. May sa US, alam na nila yan. Yung privacy policy, napaka-importante yan sa internet. Hindi ka papayagang tumakbo kung wala kang privacy policy. So, ang sinabi ko sa pamangkin ko, alam mo ang gagawin ko, kukopehin ko na lang. So, sa dami kasi ng mga posibilidad na pwedeng ikontrata ng mga parties sa buong panahon na merong contract law, there are many contracts which have no more, which are innominate, which are not in the minds of the legislators when they made the law. So you really have to, what applies to them? By analogy na lang, the civil code or similar laws, di ba? Or customs. Mahirap yung customs. Mahirap yung customs of the place. So that's all what 1307 means. Just remember that. My nephew had to craft a contract with the public. It's a unilateral contract because it binds whoever uses app to his privacy policy. So that when they sign up on the app, they are deemed to have agreed to that set of policies. Is it a contract or first contract? Because it's binding on both parties. Several participants have left the meeting. Bahala kayo. Ganito, ladies and gentlemen. What is a contract? It's an agreement to do, to give, or to receive something. Ano? Between two parties. So it's always an active sort of thing. It's not passive eh. You cannot have a contract and then nobody does anything. Diba? Unless the contract is really involves waiting. Like you're waiting for the fruits of a rice field or an orchard to grow, but you already have a contract to buy whatever those fruits are. So that involves waiting. But even a contract to buy future products is an active contract because both parties are anticipating each other's compliance. Si fruit, yung may-ari ng orchard na nagre-raise ng fruits, inaalagaan niya talaga yung mga fruits niya kasi he or she wants to earn a profit once he or she sells it to the would-be buyer. Yung buyer naman, takam na siya. He or she wants to buy the fruits so that he or she can also sell it or make something out of it. Halimbawa, gagawa siya ng ice cream or jam. Diba? So it's an active contract even if it involves waiting. Kasi both parties expect something from the other. We will study that further. Huh? All I want you to know now is that there are at least 2 parties to a contract. 3 parties, pwede ba? I have seen contracts which involve 3 parties. Usually, what we call it is a memorandum of agreement or a joint venture agreement. Ano? Kasi the parties may involve more than one. Can we have 10 parties to a contract? A, B, C, D, hanggang J? Posible. How about 100? I'm really this is the day I have technical problems. Okay. Miss Gregorio, is John Lee Gregorio male or female? I'm sorry, I cannot remember from your video presentation.
Mr. po.
Okay, I'm sorry. The names nowadays it's hard to tell. It used to be just Joseph or John, and that was it. Okay, so John Lee, yeah, I remember you now. 100 parties to a contract. Pwede ba yan?
Posible po.
Posible, ano? Kaso, mahirap. Mahirap, di ba? So, this is where we come to the concept of contract management. When you have a contract, you want it to be one which can be easily managed. In other words, you can follow the progress of the contract. You can tell if you're complying or the other party is complying so that you know what to do if the other party is already a little bit late. Anong example nito? Yung pagpapatayo ng bahay. Diba kung meron kayong contract with an architect or an engineer to build your house, meron niyang progressive billing. I talked about this earlier, progressive billing. In other words, pag nagawa nila yung foundation, si architect, kukolekta na yan, 10%. Tapos, pag natayo niya na yung beams, siguro another 50,000. Ano? Kailangan ni architect yan kasi syempre kailangan niya magbayad ng mga tao. Yung tao kasi bumuhos ng foundation, pagkatapos ng pagbuhos ng foundation, not all of them are needed anymore. No? So, aalis na yun. So, kailangan bayaran sila. So, kailangan rin ni architect or this engineer ng konting pera. So, meron niyang progressive billing. And why do we have progressive billing? Because we want to monitor the progress. Kung ikaw naman yung nagpapagawa ng bahay, gusto mo rin malaman kung si architect ba tumutupad doon sa mukhang tama ba yung ginagawa niya. Kung ikaw naman si architect, gusto mo kumolekta para mabayaran mo yung tao. So, kung mayroon naman pumapasok na pera sa kumpanya mo. No? So, contract management is that you want to monitor that the contract is being complied with so that kahit later on, kung magkabulilyaso, you're already anticipating it. Proactive kayo. Pag nakikita mo na meron kayong contract with a corporate breeder to supply your company with 10,000 chickens every quarter, tapos November pa lang, ikaw as contract manager, Miss Grantusa or Mr. Gregorio, nakikita mo na November pa lang, nakakasakit na yung mga manok, you already know what to do. Di ba? Kakontakin mo na yung kumpanya. Sabi mo, ano gagawin natin dito? Gusto nyo ba? Bawasan namin yung order namin? Kasi kung hindi nyo kukomplyan, mayroon tayong penalty clause. Ganon. So, a contract involving 1,000, 10,000 parties, theoretically possible, practically impossible to monitor. Now, I'll give you an exception. I was the lawyer for some squatters. They were not really squatters. They were claimants to a certain piece of land. It was very big dito sa San Mateo, Montalban. There were about 2,000 of them, and they all got their shares from certain common descendants. So yung mga ninuno nila, una naka-settle down dyan sa San Mateo, Montalban, wala pa masyadong tao noon. So malaki-laki yung mga lupa na hekta-hektarya. All told yata, they were claiming about 300 hectares. Kaya during that time, panahon ni Konto, ni Erap, lumabas yung, I knew it was a scam. That's why I was careful with my clients. But anyway, ang sabi nung nakipagkontrata sa amin, they will start paying all of the claimants to buy off their claims para clean yung title ng lupa. Clean yung lupa. Because they were talking about Bagong Silangan City dito sa Montalban nung panahon ni Erap, which would have covered something like 2,000 hectares, 300 hectares occupied ng mga claimants ko. So we made a contract involving all 2,000 of them. We gave it to the yung ito kasing kakontrata namin, meron siyang inside call kay Erap na they would be able to sell, turn around and sell. Ang tawag dito land banking. They will now hold these properties, 300, 1,000 square hectares. We're not talking about small pieces of land. Then they will offer it to the government. They will sell it at 100, 200% more. Laki ng kita nun. And the government will buy it because they will use it na for that Bagong Silangan City, whatever they were planning. Hindi natuloy. But that is an example of a contract that involves several thousand people. But it's very difficult to manage. In fact, I had a hard time getting people to sign. I had to go to it's really a squatter community, and stay for the entire day while people came in to sign. And they were all expecting money. But sinabi ko, wala pang pera to. Titingnan natin kung hindi tayo linoloko. Nothing came of it. But that's an example. I don't know why I cannot get this Word document out. So maybe I should just okay, what else? 1308, 1309 have to do with the fact that it's really, a contract is usually between two parties. Although the determination of how it is carried out will be left to a third party. Just read the provisions there of De Leon. It's very self-explanatory. 1310 is again that problem. When there's a problem within the parties, you have to go to court. That I think we should remove provisions like that in the law. Okay. Marriage contract, Mr. Gregorio. Is that covered by contract law? Yung
Yes
tatay at nanay mo, kasal sila, di ba?
Opo.
Pwede
Yes.
pwede ba sila magpunta sa korte para halimbawa, nag-away sila, breach of contract? O ikaw, halimbawa, mag-asawa ka. Is that covered by contract law?
Alam ko po, bawal
It's a
pa
marriage
ngayon sa
contract,
Philippines.
When you get married, nakalagay doon, marriage contract. Do we have to study what is the consideration? What is the prestation between the parties? What is the consideration of marriage contract, love? Consideration is the reason why the parties get together. Diba? In a contract of sale, the parties get together because one party is selling, the other party is buying. In a marriage contract, Mr. Gregorio, who is buying and who is selling? Would you know? Ha? Tanungin mo magulang mo mamaya. Marriage contract is not governed by contract law. Thank you, Mr. Gregorio. I was just having a little fun with you. I'm sorry. It is covered by a special provision of the law. It's only called a contract because the Bible says so. It's really a contract between the parties and God. But since the civil code cannot talk about God, it has to talk about the law. Okay, so the marriage contract is a contract on two levels. A moral contract between the parties and their religious deity, and a civil contract, a special civil contract covered by civil law relating to the law on marriage, not the law on contract. No? How about a contract to divorce or a contract to live separately? Saigal Landicho, are you with us? Miss Landicho? Come on, sayang oras natin. Sonny Saranilla.
Yes.
Ano? An agreement between two married people to divorce at a certain time or to live separately or have yung open relationship masarili. I'm sorry to give you ideas. Yung open relationship means each of the parties, they're not sexually bound to each other. They can have other partners. Yan ang tawag open relationship. Wala yan sa Pilipinas. So, huwag niyo ipauso. Sinasabi ko lang sa inyo, baka magulat kayo sa Facebook. Ha? Is that a good contract?
Sir, hindi po.
Okay, bakit kaya? I'm not asking you about the law. I'm just asking common sense things. Palagay mo.
Kasi po, wala naman pong, hindi naman po involved yung pamumuhay separately or yung pagkakaroon ng open relationship.
Because, God, Mr. Ranilla, marriage contract is absolute. It cannot be violated. So the parties cannot agree to divorce or to live separately. What the law provides, the law on marriage provides, is that they have to file a petition in court if they want to have legal separation. Definitely, the laws on marriage do not allow an open relationship because the laws on marriage require fidelity to each other. Right? In fact, you cannot even agree to divorce even if your partner is abroad, because there's divorce abroad. Diba? I've handled many couples where the other couples already divorced in the United States or in Europe. Naiwan yung isang spouse dito and hanging, di ba? I mean, marriage siya under Philippine law, but under Las Vegas law or under California law is considered divorced. So, yun ang problema. But you cannot have an agreement to that. What the solution is always in the law, to file a petition in court. Ngayon, Mr. Ranilla, sana yung mangyari tayo sa inyo to. Yung engagement, di ba nagbibigay ng sing-sing? What is that? Bakit nagbibigay ng sing-sing?
As a promise po,
Promise to what?
to marry po nung papakasal po.
Papakasal sila. At saka, wala nang i-date sa iba. Di ba? Pag-engage kayo, tapos na dating sa inyong dalawa. Huwag mo sabihin, honey, busy ako bukas ng Monday kasi magkikita kami ni Teddy. Sino Teddy? Best friend mo sa high school, maalala mo? Nagkita kami kahapon sa mall eh. Nagkayayaan kami manood ng sine. Hindi na pwede yan, di ba, Miss Saranilla?
Yes po.
Oh. So it is an implicit promise to marry. Suppose nakipag-engage ka, Miss Saranilla, hindi natuloy. The promise to marry was not fulfilled. Can you sue? Palagay mo. You thought that he was the man of your dreams. And it turns out he was interested in somebody else. So the engagement is over. Ngayon, ikaw yung naiwan doon eh. The first thing you do, of course, is I cannot remove my my ring. Is get rid of that ring. Di ba? Bad reminder. Bad vibes. Can you sue? Can you visit me at my law office and say, attorney, visit ako yun. Oy, my art. Call ends in 10 minutes. Okay. Take your notes. I don't know if we should continue this. Ang ganda na sana, no? Okay. It's selling me a longer plan. You want to meet for 30 minutes more? Okay, anyway.
Opo.
It's getting interesting because I'm sure you want to know this because all of you, I'm sure, have plans of getting a boyfriend or girlfriend. Let's just finish this topic. Okay, so let's end this now. I'll get a new link. I'll send it via messenger. Nakalusot si Sunny Saranilla sa pagsagot sa pribadong bagay. I will remember you. Huwag ka mag-alala. Okay, so let's all sign off and meet up again. Okay?